What we've done and what we've always been very good at is looking at existing processes and how we can develop that through the application of dry air. But it's not just the application of dry air, it's understanding the drying process. What's happened with the confectionery industry is they've looked at a drying process and looked at different ways to develop it and improve the drying process itself and speed that process up. What happened over time was what's called a stove drying process was developed, and what that allowed the confectionery industry to do was to take the same process as such, which was trays filled with starch, imprinted and then injected with gelatin, but instead of putting that into a conditioned or an unconditioned room for a long period of time, what they now do is put these products in what's called a stoving oven. A stoving oven was developed in order to speed that process up. So instead of it taking 5 or more days to condition a product, now the focus tends to be more around a 24-hour turnaround cycle. It's still not a modern processing technique as such, or how we would see a modern processing technique. So the way an existing or the initial stoving oven was developed was simply to raise the temperature of the product for a period of time, which is what they call the heating cycle, and then after the heating cycle, what they move then to is a cooling cycle within the stoving oven, and the cooling cycle again is used then to get the textures. So we've looked at this process, like I say, over the last 10 years and looked at how we could modernise what's already in place. It's applying the techniques that we've used in other industries to take it to the next step. Typically, a standard stoving cycle takes around 72 hours. A 3-day process is still a long period of time. So when a company's got high demand for their product, you've got two options. You can either buy more land, make the building bigger, make more product, or what you can do is look at an existing process and look to capitalise and utilise what's already in place and look for an opportunity to gain more product output simply by making the equipment that you've got more efficient at the job it does. And this is where we fit as a business. We can look at an existing process like stoving ovens, look at how the process has developed and how it currently works, and how the application of different drying techniques can accelerate that to the next level. We now have installations in the field where products that were taking 3 days to condition are now packable in 24 hours. Now what that means to a confectionery company is instead of you getting 2 cycles out of an oven in a week, you're getting a cycle per day. That's 7 cycles from a same oven in a week rather than 2. So instead of buying a new factory, instead of implementing new equipment, instead of increasing your output by investment through considerable capital equipment, what you can do is simply capitalise on the process that you've got and use that to make it run quicker.